Welcome back. The GGCA took issue this week with a comment made by the Chief Minister's Private Secretary on Industrial Relations, Michael Crome, who posted on Facebook, "Joke of the Week, GGCA." Mr. Crome is also acting HR Director on Policy and Business Support, following plans for a permanent restructure of the government's HR department. The GGCA expressed concerns over the appointment, saying it would like to see a civil servant leading in matters of policy for the civil service. Reacting to criticism from Unite regarding its position on the proposed changes, it says it doesn't want to get into a squabble with the union over this, as this is something the government is responsible for.
In a bulletin, the GGCA reassures its members it's taken the comment very seriously and will be writing to the Chief Minister to complain. It describes Mr. Crome's actions as very unprofessional and inappropriate, particularly given that late last year he sent all trade unions a draft policy on the use of social media by public servants. Mr. Crome has since removed his post and has expressed his sincere apologies to the GGCA membership.
In fairness, the very next day an apology was made, and I think we need to take it in good faith, even though it is quite soon. And I think that within the membership there's been, look, I can only call it outrage. I mean, there's been a barrage of commentary from the membership. Look, and you can understand it. We are fluctuating, I think, about 1,400 workers. You know, we have clerical admins, we have social workers, doctors, lawyers, accountants, all sorts of people. Look, you can't call us a joke. I mean, as workers, we have the right to be respected, especially in the public forum, in social media. So there is that element to it, but obviously we can take in good faith that an apology has been made. The only thing is that obviously, given the seriousness and the inappropriateness of the action, is how can we now move forward? That is the difficulty.
Commenting on the human resources restructure, the GGCA expresses concern that a GDC employee who is not a civil servant and has only worked for the government for 2 years, has been asked to lead the HR policy and business section across the whole civil service.
The viewer will be asking is, well, why does the GGCA have a problem with this? The answer is actually twofold. Firstly, that a non-civil servant should take an HR director post is very difficult for our civil service membership. The reason for that is this. When we come into the civil service as an AA, you need entry requirements, you need to pass an exam, it's quite difficult, and then for you to be promoted to head of department level, you have to pass through, at the very minimum, 5 PSC boards, and that would be someone who never fails a board, which is quite exceptional. Now, if you're looking at someone coming in and having taken at least from 20 to 25 years to get to an SO grade, which is a head of department post, it's actually very, very difficult for a civil servant to accept that somebody could come in from the outside after 2 years as a GDC officer and take a head of what is in essence a head of department post. That is the first thing. It's largely unfair thing. What is the second reason for this? The second reason is that the HR Director for Policy and Business Support will be responsible for the creation of policy across the public service and also the civil service, which basically means that we're going to have a non-civil servant creating policy for the civil service. I don't think that needs to be explained further. Obviously, for us civil servants, the civil service needs to be run by civil servants.
Now, Unite has accused you of misleading and inciting members and attacking Mr. Crome personally. So what do you have to say to these comments?
At the end of the day, Unite the Union, if they have negotiating rights for the GDC, and Mr. Crome is a member of Unite the Union, they have every right to make representations, to raise concerns, and to go public with what they feel is the right course of action. But what I don't want from the GGCA perspective is that what we don't want is for the issues to be confused. GGCA committee has no issue with Unite on this. We don't want to get into a squabble with Unite over these issues. We want to make sure that the divide and conquer card isn't played, because then we have an argument with Unite and the real issue gets confused. GGCA has an issue with the government because Unite the Union is not responsible for appointments into the public service. It is just the government.
The GGCA says it's not against the creation of a public service HR department. In fact, it encourages it. What it would like to see, though, is 2 separate HR departments, one for the civil service and one for the public service, working independently of each other. It says, taking the latest developments on board, it will have to consult the membership on how next to proceed.
Unite the Union says it is willing to take whatever steps necessary, including industrial action, to safeguard its members' interests against what it describes as undermining by the GGCA union. This follows a GGCA circular announcing it would be polling its members as to whether they think a civil service HR department should be staffed by civil servants, most of which are GGCA members. The Unite Committee sought a mandate for a course of action against GGCA at an executive meeting. Jonathan Sacramento asked Unite's Regional Secretary, Victor Shelo, what happened at the meeting.
The restructure of HR really is a very favourable and positive move, because this not only affects members of our unions, all of our unions, but it affects the taxpayer. This was meant to be to give a better service, not just to the members, but to the community at large. So in this case, we consider this as a very positive move. Therefore, we fail to understand why the GGCA union simply carries on saying or trying to mislead the members of the public that this should only be for a unique sector of the working population. So this is our whole point. You know, they are discriminating in our point of views. A large sector of membership that work for the GDC and who are now civil service ring-fence workers.
You call it discrimination, but they call it protecting the interests of their members, which is the same thing that you're trying to do.
And I understand that. I really understand that. Unite understands that. But what we fail to understand from them is that they are doing so in discriminating. I can't find a better word for it, because they are trying to undermine these sort of workers who have been there doing parallel jobs for many, many, many years, and in many cases, I would dare to say that in a better way than some of the civil servants.
Well, you've called this executive meeting today to discuss what action you're going to take against the GGCA, so what are your conclusions?
This meeting was called because now comes to the Michael Chrome issue. Right? They are targeting this member of ours.
Well, the reason they brought him up is because he's one of the candidates lined up to take one of the jobs.
Well, fine, but he's been exercising this sort of work, for the number of years he's been doing it from number 6. But now he's been asked to carry on using the sort of restructure, from within the HR, which the HR personnel happened to request this from the chief minister himself. They requested it. So now GGCA are saying we've gone round other areas, communicating members and inquiring whether people would be in favour of this or not, and saying that they dislike the idea of having a GDC employee directing HR. Well, I'm sorry, but you forgot to go to the HR department, which were the ones who really put this across. And I'm happy to have Michael Chrome there restructuring the whole process.
Well, back to the original question, what action do you plan to take?
Yes, I was gonna say that he's not in Enchufao. We're talking about Enchufao. He's only there on an acting basis.
So what action do you plan to take?
Well, whatever it takes to defend our members.
But you've discussed this at this meeting today. Surely you come to a conclusion.
Yes, we have an organised way of addressing our issues, and we have planned proper modes of acting, industrially, legally, whatever it takes. But I'm not prepared to tell you now. But we have a planned way ahead in case we need to increase our strength and show our strength in favour of not just Michael Chrome, who we are in favour of his position totally, but to defend what's more important, the policy of Unite's want and will to restructure HR department, and even more important than that, defend our membership and not allow them to be further undermined by a GCA union.
The Environmental Agency expressed concerns this week about a number of catering establishments in Gibraltar not declaring commercial quantities of fresh and frozen meats at the frontier. The agency said it came to their attention that some private vehicles have been caught importing food products which haven't been declared either to HM Customs or to the Environmental Agency at the commercial frontier gate. Kellyanne Turnbull spoke to the Environmental Health Officer, Charles Zamit.
Well, this came about really as a result of a tip-off from customs personnel at the Four Corners gate. They contacted us, informing us that they had stopped this private vehicle which was carrying what seemed to them to be a commercial quantity of meat, frozen meat. So our officer immediately went down and, detained the meat because it hadn't been properly declared as a commercial import.
In terms of legislation, what laws are being broken here?
The laws governing the importation of food are in the imported food regulations, which allows us to impose certain conditions, especially on meat and meat products. But all food must be declared on entry. Commercial quantities of food must be declared on entry at the commercial gate, both to customs, because they also need a declaration on the importation, and to our office, which is also based at the customs building at the commercial gate.
And what would be the consequences if someone were to get caught?
Well, I do realise that many persons who might be doing this are probably not aware that it is an offence. So we're not going to throw the law immediately at them. But unfortunately, if the meat is detected, then it will be detained and will have to be re-exported, I'm afraid. This is because the origin of the meat will probably not be determined. It will not be accompanied by health certificates, and the reality is that will not be allowed for sale in Gibraltar.
And just how significant are your concerns when it comes to health and safety?
This is a contravention of the law. There is health risks that might be present. We're not saying that there is a health risk always, but the state of the vehicle as well. It is not a vehicle designed for the carriage and transportation of frozen or chilled meats. For example, the boot of a car is hardly a proper place to transport this, and I see no reason why some people should circumvent the controls while others do comply and invest in proper vehicles, proper facilities.
So the Environmental Agency aiming to raise awareness on this issue?
We do want to raise awareness. That's why we've gone out on a post in our Facebook page and in the press. And we want to raise awareness so that people do understand that there are some requirements, and if they are in any doubt, to get in touch with us at our office, telephone 200 70620, and we'll gladly tell them what they have to do.
60% occupancy in the proposed new superyacht facility in Marina Bay could bring £75 million into the local economy. This according to developers Ocean Village, which have now appointed a consultant and technical advisor for the project, saying this recognises the importance it affords it.
Ocean Village is convinced that Gibraltar is ideally located to attract and provide services to what it claims is an ever-increasing market. It says the number of large yachts under construction has more than tripled over the last 10 years. The government, it states, knows the value of the sector and has abolished import duty for vessels over 18 metres. Ocean Village says that in recognition of the importance of this project to both Ocean Village and to Gibraltar, it's employed Captain Geary, a naval engineer with broad experience in compliance requirements, marina design, construction and marina operations worldwide. It says the recruitment will ensure that all measures of an environmental nature are fully addressed, and that proper designs of berthing, security, safety and shoreside facilities are in place to make Gibraltar the port of choice for private super yachts.
And that's all for News Review. For more, you can head over to our website, gbc.gi/news. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook as well. Thank you very much for watching. From the team, good night.